Hi, hello, welcome to Kate and Kajira Gaming. Welcome if you are new, you can call me KK, and in today's video we are transforming my fall market over in the Sunlit Plateau to a more springtime market. So all of these pumpkins have to go and it's time to fill them in with flowers. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so like I said in the very beginning, we are getting rid of all of these pumpkins and anything that is basically fall decor. Unfortunately, most of the Sunlit Plateau does have that autumn vibe to it, which is why I kept my apples and my cocoa trees over here. But I do love the way that the reds and the golds do still play off each other, so I am going to have that tie in with the green of spring. So first off, we are adding this little ice cream cart that I got from Scrooge's shop. This is the red one. I believe it does come in 3 colors. I do not have the other ones, but we do have this red one, which actually fits the build. We're going to also use some of these yellow Eternity Isle flower beds that you guys saw me use in my Eric speed build, which is linked up above. If you guys did not see it, it's the last video I made. And we're just going to go ahead and basically move everything that was in this area and make it a little more springtime. So we're going to have like boxes and flowers and a wagon full of plants. I live out here in SoCal where most of our farmers market come the springtime is nothing but people selling fresh fruits and veggies, as well as a variety of houseplants. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. Now you'll see me going in and out trying a variety of items to add into this build, and I don't really add much more in the way of furniture to the build than what was originally here. And if you guys missed my fall speed build or walkthrough, it is linked up above in the cards, as well as I will link it down below, but it is one of the very first videos I ever posted on this channel. And towards the very back of this build, I did have a little fall crop patch. So now I'm just going to go ahead and prep it for spring with planting a bunch of melons. And even though melons are technically a summer fruit, they do start growing in the springtime. And now it is time to get rid of this pumpkin patch that's over here. I did also get rid of all of my skull and bones that I left everywhere because they just did not fit the aesthetic of a spring build. So let's see what I'm turning this into. And I loved this idea. I saw it from someone, I believe it was on Reddit, or maybe it might have been on Discord, but they created a little chicken and goat farm. And as a small hobby farmer myself, I could not pass up the chance to have a small goat and chicken pen. So for my chickens, I actually used the Screaming Cat statue, which is from the Nightmare Before Christmas line that you get for completing one of Jack's quests, and then I used the Yule goat as our goats. Now unfortunately I was not here last year for their spring event, so I don't have the little mini eggs that they hide around the valley come springtime, but when it is spring I am going to add a bunch of those eggs inside the pen with the faux chickens and the goats. But for now I just have a bowl of, I think they list this as a bowl of berries, or this was the bowl of biscuits, but to me they look like eggs, so I just put them on a box outside of the chicken pen with a chicken water bucket and a little basket as a nod to the medical supplies that you will always need if you own livestock. Now we're just taking this little entrance over here that takes you through the archer to the back where the farmer does all of the farmering type stuff. I am just adding 2 more of these yellow Eternity Isle flower pots and tossing it in with some of these green foliages and the Sunlit Plateau ferns and the Sunlit Plateau flower bush. I love the way these tropical plants play off nicely with the greens that are naturally here in the Sunlit Plateau, and they complement very, very well, adding in the cacti and any of the deep burgundies that are naturally here. I did save one of my hay barrels to put near the chicken and goat pen because if you are a farmer or if you don't know, we always have bales of hay literally everywhere. Completing this little seating area with some Calitha pots that you get from Scrooge's shop, and taking away these torches that are in this pathway that leads you through the orchard and replacing them with the flower vine lamp. I am going to apologize that I am stumbling over my words. It is really early and that's my excuse. I've not had enough coffee today. And this is probably one of my favorite little nods, is little stall over here that you can craft at the crafting bench, and I put some eggs that you can buy from Remy's on there, because if you've ever been to a farmer's market, they also have stalls that sell farm fresh eggs. Now this little corner over here, I am tying in with those dune palm trees to kind of tie in from Eric's castle and the rest of Pride Rock Casita build area that's over there so that it flows nicely. And I think it just adds something else to this little corner, which I had no idea what to do with, but it was just too empty. So plants it was. Alright, so we are now going to get rid of my corn maze, which when I first planted this, I was very upset to realize after I'd already planted and grown all of the crops, the corn does not grow that big. So it didn't really look quite like a corn maze. It looked like just a bunch of wagging corn sprouts. So we're going to go ahead and turn this area into a little food court. So we're going to have a couple of benches and the Madrigal table. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put a bunch of food on each of the tables that you would naturally get at the market. So we have falafels and boba tea, and we have a club sandwich and a cheeseburger that'll be added to these tables. And I just think the waterfall in the background is a nice touch as well. It's probably one of my favorite features on the Sunlit Plateau. And of course, no build of mine is ever complete without overdoing it with the foliage. Alright, and my transformation from fall to spring is finally complete. So we're just going to go ahead and do a very brief walkthrough of everything, and then stay tuned to the end to see the before and after B-roll. So our tour starts off on the other side of this bridge, where we have the lush trees to the right. I did have these here in my fall build, but I just spaced them out a little bit, and I think I took a bunch down. I think this looks a lot better, especially since I have the waterfalls in the background. And then of course that little cluster of dune palm trees, some cacti and bushes to tie in across the creek, where you can kind of see Eric's castle, and then you can see Mirabelle in the back dancing along with Casita. I love the way this little area looks. It looks so lush and spring-like while also still playing nods to the desert-esque notions that is the Sunlit Plateau. So as we walk into the market area, we are greeted with our seating area, which stayed the same. I just replaced some of the plants. And of course we have Goofy's stall, now equipped with a ice cream cart and a little food market eating area. And of course, lots of plants, lots of baskets, and lots of jugs. I really love this entrance and how it looks. Everything over here is still accessible. Like I do with all my builds, I try to make sure every single thing that I need to access is accessible, even if I have to get a little annoyed with walking around a bunch of rocks and plants. So as we go this way through the food court here, we have a bunch of our food that I mentioned earlier. So we have falafels, a club sandwich, a cheeseburger, an ice cream, and some boba. So the cheeseburger, the club sandwich, and the falafel are all Eternity Isle recipes. So make sure that if you guys are looking for these recipes, that you have the Eternity Isle DLC. And if we walk down our orchard path, we are greeted with our flowering vine lamps. I love these. They create such a nice glow in the dark, but even during the day, I think they are just wonderful. And we're going to go ahead and continue through the orchard. This didn't change at all, honestly. I think all I did was I added books to the little table over here because it's springtime, and the best thing to do is lay on a hammock and read some books. Continuing through our orchard of cocoa beans and apples, we are now greeted with the farmer's little area. So this, again, didn't really change. I just changed up the foliage a little bit with adding the Eternity Isle yellow plant flower beds, and then I added a bunch of these green ferns, also from Eternity Isle. I really hope in our next update that they do add more underbrush from the original game. That is one square that you can actually decorate with. And then we have our little melon patch over here. And of course, my favorite part of this whole build, our chicken and goat area. So I have our little stall to sell the farm fresh eggs. And then we have our little crate that holds all the materials that you need to take care of chickens and goats. And this is my favorite area. Now let's go ahead and roll the B-roll of our before and after. And that does it for our transition from fall to spring in the Sunlit Plateau. I really love how this came out, and I'm very much enjoying transitioning all of my fall areas to spring, especially since the DLC that we got back in December is offering more and more colored plants that help us decorate. If you guys do enjoy cozy game content, be sure to like, thumbs up, and subscribe to this video. It would mean the absolute world to me. I'm a small-time content creator looking to grow her channel in 2024, and I'd appreciate it if you join me for the journey. You guys can follow me on all social media sites. That's Twitch, Twitter, and Discord, all linked down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys!